End of the workday, boys and girls. It's hard to believe tomorrow's going to be Wednesday already. Anyway, Dan Bongino announces his resignation, I guess is what you want to call it. I don't know. He's leaving the FBI, okay? And, I don't think it really matters. I mean, I don't hate the guy. But my general thought on a lot of things considered the FBI, unless of course you're serving in the military, is why do you want to? I mean, why do you even want to maybe stay forever? Like, if you're a half honest person, the stuff you get exposed to, it must make your head spin. Why would you want to stay? I don't think that's necessarily his issue. I mean, look, I always say this. I'm a classic conservative. I am exactly the way Alexander Hamilton described conservative values in as far as American politics. I am a classical conservative. Most people living in our country today, even inside the conservative definition, whatever you want to call it, they're not conservative. It's just like Fox News. You see a lot of people on there over the years. They'll 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 talk about how great, and faithful they are to God, and God changed their life, and this or that. But what it really is they're a whole lot of Roman, as in Roman Catholic. And when you think about it from that standpoint, Fox News is a lot more Roman than it is, say, just Christianity. Some people might even care about those things. I don't hate any of them. I'm just pointing out the fact they're basically Roman Catholic. And I'm just saying this because Bongino spent, prior to his FBI appointment by Trump, he spent a lot of years on his podcast and basically putting out a ton of conspiracies. And specifically, the conspiracies he put endless conspiracy into was the Epstein files. Oh my God, there's so much corruption. Every politician was sex slaving. Oh my God. I mean, I didn't listen to it because I think it's garbage. But that's all it was. And quite frankly, if you care about money at this point in your life, and Bongino should be several times removed from being very wealthy at this point. But let's say he still really cares about money. It's much more lucrative for him to just go back to podcasting, spreading theories, because they're, which drives me nuts as a conservative, by the way. This absolutely drives me nuts. We can just say things without proving any of it's real. We could just say things and not prove it's real. And you gotta understand why this bothers me, is it creates chaos inside the culture. Chaos inside the culture is a breakdown of discipline. Breakdown in discipline leads to lawlessness. Breakdown in discipline leads to murder, theft, everything. Basically anything that's on the Ten Commandments. It leads to all that. I don't like lawlessness. And I don't like a breakdown of discipline. It's hard to be a virtuous American who is for the better good of your country if you believe anything and everything someone tells you. It's just that simple. Now, once again, I don't hate Dan Bongino. Good luck. I just think it really doesn't matter. But a lot of people are already on social media. Well, I bet you he got fired by Trump. Oh, I bet you he spent less than he will have spent 1 year and he saw so much stuff that he can't believe it and he can't talk about it, so he's leaving. The opposite is actually ever true of that. He never knew anything special to share with you, even in his private career when he was working for the police department and then eventually later on for the Secret Service. He didn't have no special knowledge. No one ever does. You know, even being an expert in something is almost laughable. It almost has no meaning nowadays because in real life, there's very few experts. You know, I'll give you an example of this too. Who has more knowledge in science? Let's say in archaeology, for example. Is it the teacher who sits in your college or your high school who teaches you about archaeology? Or is it the person actually in their field busting their chops every day in a desert or in Siberia where it might be negative 60 degrees outside, sleeping in tents with nothing more than a coal stove or a potbelly stove or a wood stove to survive? You see what I'm saying? There is a huge lack of difference in knowledge. The people in the field deal with reality of the field plus knowledge. The people in the classroom don't usually have the same idea because there is no discomfort for them. It's just merely academic reading and then regurgitating it to their students. It's not the same thing. So, anyways, that's just a whole other rabbit trail. I don't think Dan really liked the job to start with. And like I said, I think this all circles back to the fact that it's a lot easier to just spread lies and theories about things and never be able to prove any of it. I think that's the problem. But that being said, I wish him luck. Like I said, I'm just too conservative for anybody in the culture, really. That's what it comes down to. Because if you're not American and you're here, there's something you won't ever understand about the word conservative because it doesn't exist in the Western Hemisphere on the outside of America. Conservatives, even in Western Europe, look more like a modern Democrat. They don't really exist in most cases, not in any wide swaths of meaningful numbers. In America, there's still a decent amount of them, but it's losing its understanding in time, and time proves that. I like saying that all the time. Time proves it. This to be correct, but the idea of conservatism in American politics by Alexander Hamilton was it's geared by your faith. So it's like Christianity, right? And then the policies that flourish from it at the government level. Your freedoms, your liberties, the concepts of charity, whether it's giving money or your time. It's the service of your country, military, or maybe you're the governor or attorney general. You know, there's ways to serve your country without being military. Military might be the most important, but there's definitely a lot of different ways to serve. And it all flourishes through that. Christian worldview. That's what true conservative values are. That's not what it is in America today. And Dan Bongino is not one of those guys. He can make a lot of conspiracies and not ever have any proof or any evidence, or he can make you think he has special knowledge because he was in the Secret Service, or special knowledge because he worked for the New York City Police Department. But it's not rooted in reality. It's not real logic. That's the point. And that's what I'm saying. It drives this conservative guy crazy. Because in America nowadays, a lot of people who piss on conservatives, they might even be conservative themselves, but their idea of conservatism is, oh, I don't believe in abortion, or oh, I don't believe in gay marriage, or oh, I don't believe in, transgender, this or that. Other people who don't have any of the Christian values, which is what classical conservatism is, will have this. Oh, I think the government should be smaller. Oh, oh, we should have less taxes. Oh, some people are real crazy and they'll even go as extreme as saying no taxes, which then just means your government has no money, which is a really weird concept. It's also not constitutional, right? It literally in the Constitution says the Congress has the right to raise taxes. The right to taxation is clearly expressed in the Constitution. But this is crazy. See, it's not taking classic conservatism as like this whole thing. Instead, it's dicing and slicing and, oh, I want to believe in this, but I don't want to believe in that, right? Sounds like a lot like Christianity, right? I'll believe in this, but I won't believe in that. And maybe it'll sprinkle a little bit of this, but it'll sprinkle a little bit over here, right? It's not, you see what I'm saying? Like, it's just always being cut in half and dissected. Few people are true conservatism defined by our father conservatism. That's my point. And that's why guys like Dan Bongino, whether they call themselves Republicans or not, it really doesn't matter to me. And I don't think him leaving, like I said, is a big deal at all. I don't. Some people will whine and cry. They're already spreading theories about it with no basis of any knowledge of anything. So, yeah. Yeah, everything is dissected, right? It drives me nuts. But anyway, and then, of course, the sidestep to this off the Dan Bongino thing is we're still looking for this. If you're not American, America just came through. I just came through my uncle's funeral last week, but during last week, we had all the killings happen. We had, well, the only one to me that matters is the Brown University one. But there was even an MIT professor killed, I believe it was in his apartment. And they're just simple acts of terrorists. It doesn't have to be super complicated. Not a lot of things really need to be said about it. But they don't know where this guy is. And we know it's a guy, but, since COVID, everyone just has masks on, right? So, it's hard to see. I mean, this guy, we did get a clear face shot, but he's still mostly covered. So, I don't know. Anyway, it's not solved. Endless conspiracy runs and rules the night, and it just becomes ridiculous. I don't think it'll take long to find him, although it's already been a few days now. But the thing is, it doesn't take very long for a case to go cold if cops can't find evidence leading them somewhere. I've heard some detectives even say sometimes that can be as fast as 48 hours. And we're past 3 days. So, you know, anyway, they started to issue different pictures today. And, so on and so forth. So we'll see. But it's just a simple act of terrorism. It doesn't matter really if the person was a Democrat or a Republican. These people are just fucking crazy, all the way down to the fact that you watched the press conference, which I just got done watching. A lot of people interpret things differently. Oh, the guy had a long gun. It's so stupid to hear people say long guns, right? They're just talking about a rifle. They're talking about a rifle. Everyone calls it long guns. It's crazy. But what I interpreted from this is, and not to mention, they already had said they had found ammunition, is we're just talking about handguns. But see, in America's mind of conspiracy, they can't accept that, right? Because they think in their mind that the only thing that can mass kill someone is an AR-15. That's it. So that's their mindset. Even though they've already said that, they had handgun ammunition found at the scene. Right. Because, you can't just do this really fast and pop a few people and kill them. That's what I'm saying. Like, Americans have just literally become stupid. And it's really a Western phenomenon. And a lot of it is cell phone addiction. People don't read meaningful books. And so on and so forth. And it's just getting worse. It's getting worse, guys. The lack of critical thinking blows my mind. I could be wrong about that gun thing, but that's what I took from it. But everyone else, they're already running around like, it was a long gun, man. It was a long gun. I must have sold that word 1,000,000 times. It was a long gun. Why can't you say assault rifle? And by the way, whether it's reality or not, it's very hard to find, say, a military style issued fully automatic AR-15 in our country nowadays. Can you engineer parts and pieces and stuff like that? Well, yeah, I'm sure you can find anything, but you're not just going to go to like Walmart and find something that's beyond semi-automatic. But that's besides the point. It sounds like it was a handgun. Alright, talk to you later, knuckleheads. Have a good night. Bye.